Hello, my name is Dulce Alonso, and today I'm going to be presenting the topic of media manipulation. So, throughout all stimulus material, one of the biggest themes I found was the idea of innovation, and particularly the author of The Historian as a Participant, Arthur Schlesinger. He presented as innovation increased throughout time or became better, the sooner the present became the past. But at the same time, this introduced a new problem. Due to the overwhelming massive influx of media into the major internets, it becomes difficult for people to differentiate the real and the fake. And also, according to BBC News today, a panel of more than 50 experts concluded that one of the biggest challenges our society faces today is the breakthrough of trusted information, as well as Thomas Schultz, who is an executive director of the American News Institute, presents the idea that misinformation is something our society has to adjust to, instead of altering it or abolishing it. Now, this comes to my own argument. This media manipulation decreases the trust that we have on mainstream media, and this will further radicalize the truth. Now, two major events that I'm going to be presenting today is the popular or the political elections of 2016 and government propaganda. Now, they're going to present or support my argument on the idea that social media is one of the innovations that increases media manipulation and also radicalizes the truth by creating popular headlines that many people focus on and want to follow. Now, during the presidential elections, major reoccurring or the major topic of fake news had been trending worldwide on social media websites, specifically the Russian hacking into the presidential elections and favoritizing Donald Trump as one of the major candidates. Now, according to Shibli Tilhani, who is a researcher in a critical news polls, constituted that disregarding of political inclinations, people still believed that Russia did actually had been or had an inclination into the presidential elections, though none of this news has been backed up by credible information or has been announced credible as it is. Now, at the same time, Han Ella, who is a associate professor in New York University, presents the idea that only 14% of people in the United States rely on social media to counter their argument in the idea of what president-elects they did want to select. And also, he also presents the idea that as time increases, more people decrease their trust in mainstream media due to their knowledge that there's a huge input of fake news being installed every single day into the mainstream media. This all contradicts, since the idea that though mainstream media and fake news are correlated as well, many people still believe on the election news. And even after they found out that these news were fake, many people still had a trust for mainstream media. Now, all of this evidence presents my argument that social media does have a huge role play in what social media, or has a huge role play on the trust in mainstream media. And it does influence major events or political decisions in our world today. Now, for government propaganda has been a huge issue during a long time. And as according to Steve Coleman, who is a writer of The Guardian, who has recently interviewed Scott McCallum, who was a former Secretary of Press of President Bush, he states that during President Bush's presidential campaign, he conducted a major or huge propaganda campaigns in order to mislead Americans into pushing the Iraq War. Now, this is true due to the evidence that during that campaign, many polls conducted by the Accuracy and Fairness conclude that a major amount of the American media presented pro-war commentators, overwhelmingly more than anti-war commentators. Now, this is also backed up since many of the propaganda that was presented also shows inclinations that many people believe that Al-Qaeda and Iraq were correlated during that time. And they also present clear evidence that people still believe that during that time, military action should be taken against Iraq. But at the same time, this decreased since of the many outcomes and factual evidence that put the United States in a bad place. Now, all of this information also backs up my argument in allowing that though the push of mainstream propaganda does alter over objection towards It also presents that people still believe and trust on the mainstream media and still become, after all, alterations that come up in tragic occasions. Now, effects in the general public. Now, the effects of the general public found that more than 2/3 of the people still do trust on social media and get their news from social media. Majority of the news that they get is from platforms such as Facebook and YouTube. Now, almost all of this media is manufactured or mostly false news. But this also comes up to the question, why do people still keep clicking on false news even though that they know they are false news? Well, it's because of the clickbait. People go into wanting to know something sensational or something radicalized that radicalizes the truth of what actually is being presented. Now, all of these points bring to a major conclusion. Social media is a huge innovation that creates many false news stories, but people still fall into them because of the radicalization of the truth, or clickbait as it is. Now, as my resolutions. My first resolution is that many people or many journalists and politicians want media regulation, but posters state that media regulation will only cause an infringement upon the free speech Declaration or the First Amendment. And as well as my second resolution is the fact that many CEOs of social media companies want or declare the fact that they want to ultimately eliminate social media or fake news as it is. And they also want to establish fact-checking websites in order to decrease the conversation or recognition of fake news in social media websites. And lastly, many researchers want to push for a whole new creation of environment or a whole new creation of the internet, which has limited information due to the fact that there is no information telling how they're going to do it and how much time this is going to take. Now, this is the end of my question.
All right, so let me ask you a couple of questions. All right, so how does your conclusion respond to any of the other research or sources that you found?
Well, my conclusion pretty much summarizes all of my sources and all of my evidence that I have concluded in my arguments and claims, since I present the fact that social media is a huge problem that introduces mainstream or introduces fake news and becomes ultimately sort of a weapon in order to increase the trust that many people have on mainstream media.
Okay. How did your research question evolve as you moved through the process? And did you go in a different direction than you originally planned?
No, my research question was always the same, and it was pretty much my main focus in order to answer it, and it was also an example of what I wanted to do. So I mapped out all of my conclusions, such as the government propaganda, to sort of answer my question, which is pretty much the whole headset that I wanted to respond to.
Okay, thank you, Dulce.